E3 2019 is coming up, and everyone's out there speculating, even if you despise corporations and want them to burn. It's an exciting time for games, new consoles, new cringe.
Ridge Racer!
It should be considered a holiday. Most people have an E3 prediction list, and I've made one the past 2 years. But this year, I wanted to mix things up, so I decided to make a different kind of prediction list. Top 5 things that won't be at Nintendo's E3. No, this won't be me crying about F-Zero and Metroid the whole time, even though I would love to cry about Metroid Prime 4 for an entire video because I'm a man-child. But just remember, this is my speculation. I'm sure you have your own personal list. You can throw it in the comments if you'd like. Well, as long as you're not complaining about my number 2 pick. Let's get into it. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is one of the highest selling Switch games of all time. I consider it one of the greatest Switch games as well. It's the definitive Mario Kart experience, regardless of what those nostalgia-blinded Double Dash folks say. You would think Nintendo would roll out some DLC that would make fans accelerate to their wallet. But nope, we got Breath of the Wild Link added in a free update. That's cool, but that wasn't enough content to rev our engines. We want more. With Mario Kart Tour on the horizon, I don't think any new content will be speeding onto the Switch anytime soon. Mario Kart 8 will soon be considered too old and will require an oil change, so they'll just make Mario Kart 9 instead of making DLC. I want to have hope for DLC, but I'm yielding, so when it inevitably doesn't happen, my emotional crash isn't a total wreck. If you know me at all, you know that I would literally give my life for Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE to be ported on the Nintendo Switch. And if you don't know me, well, now you know I would sacrifice myself for this game to be ported. This crossover between Fire Emblem and Shin Megami Tensei wasn't the biggest hit on the Wii U because it premiered at the end of the system's career. Ever since the birth of the Switch, the 10 people who bought this game have been incredibly vocal about wanting this game ported. As much as I want it to happen, I don't think it's going to. Right now at least. As of now, it could steal the spotlight from the upcoming Persona 5 spin-off game, Persona 5 Scramble, that's planned for Switch. Atlus would be competing with themselves with Tokyo Mirage Sessions and Persona 5 Scramble. If this fabulous game ever gets another shot on the billboard, it likely won't be until the 2020 season at the earliest. I would still die for it though. There's one thing about this E3 that will automatically make it better than last year's E3. We don't have to hear this fucking song at every conference. I believe with all my heart, the third installment in the Kingdom Hearts series is not dream dropping on the Switch anytime soon. If there's any Kingdom Hearts presence at Nintendo's E3, it'll be this song. And this song will introduce Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 for the Switch. Or Sora in Smash Bros. That's always a possibility. I expect Switch to eventually get these titles, probably in the next 358 days, but I don't think 3 will be happening on the Switch. Because imagine running that game below 60 frames per second. That sounds just as awful as Recoded.
I didn't realize you had to go through so much trouble to get us to investigate this hurt nominee.
Oof.
I only listed this at number 2 because I know I'm going to get a lot of shit for it. I firmly believe we will not get a 2019 release date for Animal Crossing. I think it's going to be delayed to 2020. No, I'm not a rabid Animal Crossing fan who's overreacting because it wasn't in the last Direct. Let's think logically for a minute. Animal Crossing is a massive franchise for Nintendo. But do you know what else is also massive? Zelda and Pokemon. How do you expect Nintendo to release 3 massive games in the final season of 2019? Why not push at least one of them off to 2020 to keep the momentum going for the Switch? I would say it's possible Link's Awakening or Pokemon could be delayed, but I highly doubt that because we've seen footage for both of those, whereas we haven't seen a second of gameplay from Animal Crossing. And to draw parallels, this is the same exact situation as Fire Emblem last year. Before E3, at the investors meeting, Fire Emblem Three Houses was reconfirmed for 2018 release, but ultimately got delayed to 2019, and we didn't see any footage beforehand. That's incredibly similar to Animal Crossing's situation right now. Unless Nintendo has turned a new leaf, I think Animal Crossing is doomed to follow Fire Emblem's footsteps at this year's E3. And besides, every month is full of upcoming titles. July has Fire Emblem, August has Astral Chain, Luigi's Mansion will probably drop in September or October, and Zelda and Pokemon will release in November or early December. The only possibility is it releasing in September, and do you really think Nintendo would allot that small amount of time to market the game? I really don't think so. I don't want to sound like a downer because I really want a new Animal Crossing game. I want this game so badly. But I'm just being a realist and speaking my mind. Out of all my picks, I want this one to be wrong the most. Prove me wrong, Nintendo. Give this wild world the next soul-sucking game that we crave so badly. As said earlier, I am a man-child when it comes to Metroid. Metroid is my main source of energy. I have loved very few things in this world as much as I love Metroid. And that's why I think it's the prime time to release the Metroid Prime Trilogy. But not the trilogy you expect. The trilogy I'm referring to that will never get made is a trilogy made up of the spin-off Prime games. Metroid Prime Hunters, Metroid Prime Federation Force, and Metroid Prime Pinball. Most people hate these games. Or, well, just one of these games. This was actually a joke floating around Twitter a while ago, but it kind of makes sense. They're essential to what comes next in the Prime series. Metroid Prime 4 is supposed to feature Sylux, the bounty hunter, as the antagonist. Sylux was introduced in Hunters, and shown at the end of Federation Force. His strongest presence are in these spin-off titles. To prepare casual fans for Prime 4, Sylux needs to be properly introduced in an easily accessible game. So putting this trilogy together for the Switch would be super helpful. Hunters introduces Sylux and has the standard controls for Prime games to prep fans for Prime 4 controls. Federation Force is actually a great game that released at the wrong time and could really benefit from a higher quality online service. And Metroid Prime Pinball? That would be cool. It's a solid pinball game and it retells the story of Prime 1. I guess that's kind of the odd one out. Hunters and Federation Force are my main focus here, and Prime Pinball is just thrown in there. This is the trilogy I crave. But, I'll also settle for the traditional and expected Prime trilogy on the Switch, especially if you throw in the Labo VR. That's just gonna end me. I'm just gonna die. But all I'm saying is it would be great for these three games to get the attention they deserve. Especially Federation Force. It really deserves a second chance. Thank you all for watching my wacky list. Let me know your hopes and dreams that most certainly won't show up at Nintendo's E3 this year. But don't frown, be happy. I'll see you all later.